What if the most trusted brand in your kitchen had been hiding a secret so dark it changed the fate of millions of lives? Elias wasn't looking for a story. The story found him in a manila envelope at 3 in the morning, stamped classified. He almost didn't open it. Inside, internal documents, chemical formulas, memos with dates going back 50 years, and a name, Project Genesis, Nestle, the company behind the chocolate in your pantry, the coffee in your morning cup, the baby formula trusted by mothers across the world. A corporation worth $94 billion, built on one of the most powerful words in human emotion, trust. But trust, Elias would learn, can be manufactured, just like everything else. It started in the 1970s. Nestle's representatives moved through rural villages in Africa and Southeast Asia, smiling, generous, in crisp white uniforms, handing out free baby formula to new mothers. The message was clear. This is modern. This is better. This is progress. What they didn't say, what no one said, was that the formula required clean water to prepare safely. Water that these villages did not have. Water that no one was going to provide. Mothers, trusting the brand, trusting the white uniforms, mixed the powder with contaminated river water. The infants became sick. World Health Organization documents, later obtained and promptly buried, describe what happened next with two clinical words: preventable mortality. Preventable mortality. Elias sat with that phrase for a long time. Inside the company's files, an internal memo from 1981 read, "Breastfeeding undermines market share in developing regions. Aggressive substitution is recommended." Not a mistake, not an oversight, a strategy. And it worked. Nestle's infant formula sales exploded across the developing world, while global health agencies scrambled to understand why infant mortality rates were spiking in regions where Nestle had expanded. But the formula scandal was only one chapter. The chemist, a source Elias never met in person, a voice on the other end of a payphone, told him something that made the room cold. They knew exactly how to make you come back. Inside Nestle's research laboratories, scientists weren't just making food taste good. They were engineering something more precise. The documents called it an optimal craving threshold, a calculated sodium-sugar matrix designed to activate the brain's reward centers just enough to make the desire feel natural. Not addiction. They would never use that word. But a 2009 internal email chain was unambiguous. Reformulation must maintain addictive palatability. Do not reduce the sodium-sugar matrix. Elias walked through a supermarket aisle after reading that. He looked at every product differently. He looked at the children reaching for them differently. Then there was the water. Nestle's water division had, over the course of 3 decades, quietly negotiated contracts with governments, some legitimate, some not, to extract groundwater from regions already facing scarcity. 800 million liters, annually, from Pakistan's Punjab region alone. The farmer Elias interviewed had not seen water flow in his fields for 7 years. He spoke without bitterness, only the exhausted certainty of a man who had given up hoping anyone would listen. 2 miles from his cracked, dead field, a Nestle bottling plant, gleaming, humming, full. The lobbying spend told the rest of the story. $2 million in 1990, $40 million by 2020. Applied consistently against breastfeeding promotion bills, water access legislation, nutritional labeling reforms, and international formula marketing codes. Year after year, country after country, quietly, professionally. And then came the final file on the USB drive, the one Mara had risked everything to copy. Project Genesis, Phase 2, an expansion plan, targeting conflict zones, regions where war had destroyed breastfeeding infrastructure, where mothers were desperate, where no one was watching closely enough. Syria, Yemen, South Sudan. That was the moment Elias understood that what he was holding was not just a story. He and Diana published the next morning. By noon, the article had been shared 4 million times. By evening, protests had broken out outside Nestlé's Geneva headquarters. By the following week, senators were demanding executives appear before a committee. The CEO, a man who had shaken hands with presidents and signed pacts with humanitarian organizations, sat before the cameras and answered, carefully and expensively, for the first time. Mara watched from a safe house. She exhaled. First time in months. Elias watched from the back of the chamber. He didn't smile. Because justice, he had learned, rarely arrives clean. Nestlé restructured, commissioned ethics boards, launched rebranding campaigns with new packaging and sustainability pledges. The stock recovered. Lawyers settled. The machine adapted. But the farmer's field had water again. The WHO strengthened its formula marketing codes. A mother in Lagos, watching the coverage, finally understood what had happened to her daughter in 1998. Some things changed. Some things never do. Weeks later, a package arrived at Elias's desk. Inside, a handwritten note from someone still inside. There's more. There's always more. He pinned it above a fresh corkboard, looked at it for a long moment, then picked up his pen. Because the powerful count on one thing above all else, that you won't keep looking. Subscribe to AURUM Mind for more.